video will cover some of the basic maintenance for your Propella electric bike. When lubricating the chain, it's good to first clean off as much dirt as possible. If you have a degreaser, apply some to a rag and run the chain through it. The goal is to get off as much dirt and debris as possible, as this will make your chain last a lot longer. Once you have a clean chain, use the bike lubricant and apply the lube to every link on the chain. Once it gets a good coating, run through the gears a few times. After, it's important to wipe down the excess lubricant so it doesn't get all over the bike. To pump your tires, you'll first want to remove the tire cap. Open the valve and press it once to make sure it's open. Put the pump on the valve and pump to your desired pressure. On these tires, we recommend to stay within 50 to 70 psi. After, close the valve and put the tire cap back on. Every so often, it's good to do a bolt check on the bike and make sure nothing is coming loose. The rear axle, which secures the motor on the bike, is a good place to start. Remove the plastic cover and use an 18mm wrench to make sure both the left and the right axle bolts are tight. Use an 8mm Allen wrench and check both crank arms to make sure they're not coming loose. On the stem, check the two side bolts and the front faceplate that holds the handlebars. The battery mounting dock can be checked by removing the battery to expose two T25 bolts. Before you go on any ride, make sure the battery is properly locked on the frame by trying to pull it off the bike. One of the most common things on a bike to be loose or overlooked is the front quick release. If you can open and close the lever with one finger, it's too loose. To tighten, use the bolt on the opposite side. When the lever is in the open position, screw this bolt in. You will want to make sure there is enough tension that it takes a little effort to close the lever. If you have mechanical disc brakes, this will show you some of the basic adjustments you can make. The following part does not apply if you have hydraulic disc brakes. Over time, your brake cables will stretch out and brake pads will wear down. A sign of this is the brake levers getting close to the grips when they are engaged. To adjust the brakes, you'll have to close the gap between the pads and the rotor. By unscrewing the barrel adjuster on the brake lever, it will increase the cable tension. This will move the left side brake pad closer to the rotor. Get the pad as close as you can without it rubbing on the rotor. If the barrel adjuster falls out of the brake lever, you'll need to take your cable tension directly from the brake caliper. Use a 5mm Allen wrench to loosen the bolt that locks down the cable. Pull some of the cable slack out and tighten back down the 5mm bolt. To adjust the right side pad in the caliper, use a 5mm Allen wrench to turn the adjuster until the pad is as close as it can be to the rotor without it rubbing. This is a good time to look at your brake pads, as you'll want to change them if there are less than 1mm of pad left. A good guide for this is the 2mm thick brake rotor. If the brake pads are half the size of the rotor, it's time to get some new pads. Just like the brakes, gear cable will stretch out too and eventually cause rough shifting. There are some simple adjustments you can make to add some cable tension. What you'll want to do is move your gears down to the lowest gear. In this case, it's gear 7. What you'll want to do next is shift up one gear while pedaling. If the chain does not jump up to the next gear or it struggles to do so, you need to add some cable tension. Use the barrel adjuster on the shifter, unscrew it until the shift from the lowest gear to the next gear up are smooth. If you add too much cable tension, you'll find you will not be able to shift down to your lowest gear. You will need to screw the barrel adjuster back in so the bike shifts down to this gear.